So Arnold, tell us about the eco-responsible packaging program. How is it working out?
Well, the eco-responsible packaging program, we developed that to recognize our customers who are doing a good job at balancing the dimensions of sustainable packaging, and specifically for transportation packaging, or what's sometimes called tertiary packaging. So in the packaging world, we differentiate between primary, secondary, and tertiary. An example would be primary packaging is a tube of toothpaste. It holds the tube of toothpaste. Secondary packaging is the box that holds the tube of toothpaste that sits on the shelf and advertises itself to the consumer. And then tertiary packaging would be the case or the container that all those tubes are shipped in as they go to the store. At UPS, we focus on tertiary packaging because we move about 16 million of those packages every day. And in the eco-responsible packaging program, we look at three elements. We look at damage prevention, cube optimization, and wise materials selection. So the first of those is damage prevention. And most people, when they think of sustainability, don't think of that as the first thing, but it really makes sense. Because if you order a product and it's shipped to you, you want it to arrive intact. If it shows up broken, then whoever sent it to you has to manufacture another one, ship it to you again, which means more packaging material, more fill material to protect the product, and then more fuel to move the package to you. And if it's a high-value item, they have to retrieve it as well, which is even more fuel and even more packaging material. So at UPS, we say the single most sustainable thing you can do is package a product. I keep saying project. At UPS, we say the single most sustainable thing you can do is package a product so that it arrives intact. Second thing we look at is cube optimization. You don't want the box to be any bigger than it needs to be to protect the product inside. But as you can imagine, it's a bit of a balancing act to balance between damage prevention and not having the box bigger than it needs to be. And that's where UPS can offer a lot of expertise through our package design and test lab to help customers know the art and the science of how to balance those two needs.
And this is a fee-based service, but any customer can apply for it?
What we offer at the Package Design and Test Lab is a fee-based service, but any customer of UPS is eligible for our services. The third thing we look at in evaluating eligibility for the eco-responsible packaging program is wise materials selection. And here we look at things such as recyclability, compostability, reuse of the packaging, and life cycle metrics. And for life cycle metrics, we actually look at the science behind the materials that are being used. We use a software program from the Sustainable Packaging Coalition called Compass, which looks at 8 life cycle metrics, such as aquatic toxicity, greenhouse gases, and other things. And we balance each of those materials against the best in class for that application. We've developed a patent-pending algorithm for how we evaluate those materials, and if a customer passes our evaluation on each of the 3 elements, damage prevention, cube optimization, and materials selection, then they're eligible to be in the eco-responsible packaging program.
And when it comes to materials, how does one cut down what one uses for sustainability purpose and at the same time balance damage protection and some of the other concerns with safety?
In terms of how you reduce the use of materials without sacrificing the integrity of the contents, without having damage, that's where you really do need to take a scientific approach. And that's where package design engineers such as those UPS has can be a great resource for doing that. We can design, we can test, and we can verify that the new designs are appropriate for the small parcel shipping environment or the freight shipping environment.
For life cycle analysis, do you start with designing the package, or do you go back and look at what you have and then analyze and see what you can do with it?
Ideally, in life cycle analysis, you would start by looking at the entire life cycle. You'd look all the way from the sourcing of the materials through the manufacturing of those materials to how they're used and transported, the weight and the fuel that's necessary to move that weight. You would look at the end-of-life scenarios, and as you're designing your packaging, you would take all of that into account as you seek to optimize. You would take all of that into account as you seek to optimize the life cycle metrics. In reality, I think what happens is first the design is done, and then the manufacturers, the brand owners come back and then do the measurement and the benchmarking based on what they've designed. But ideally, the better approach is to apply life cycle thinking